10 years ago, my stepmom changed my college application choices without asking. This messed up my education path, and I missed out on my dream university. This marked the start of my life's tragic journey. After meeting the wrong people, I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder. During a manic episode, I accidentally fell from a high building. When I came to, I found myself back 10 years ago. She had just opened my computer and entered my exam admission number. I pushed her to the ground and started slapping her. Changing my choices? How low can you get? How about none of us make it out alive? Stepmom Shirley was crying out with swollen cheeks after I hit her. My dad rushed in and pulled me off her. Sue, what are you doing? That's your mother. Are you crazy? I stared at Shirley, cuddling up to my dad, feeling dizzy and like my heart was gonna jump out. My mom, ask her what she was just trying to do. She was gonna change my college application and ruin my life. Shirley stopped crying. You're lying. I wasn't. I just wanted to check if your choices were correct. Sue, how can you think of me like that? I'm your mom. I let out a cold laugh, and some rationality returned to me for a brief moment. Last time, I believed her lies and downplayed the situation, which led to missing out on my dream college. I ended up retaking a year. That whole year, Shirley sighed around me, talking about her and Dad's hardships, piling on the pressure as I prepped for exams. Even then, I only got into an average college. After graduating, she started lining up blind dates. And every refusal turned into her exploiting her mom's status to guilt-trip me, leading to me getting deceived. I thought this was all bad luck until I found out on my deathbed that she was making way for her daughter, Hannah. Now, looking at Shirley's tear-streaked face full of fake grievance, anger rushed through me. My mom, you wish. You just can't wait for me to not get into college and stay home, right? You wretch. I didn't hold back. My dad stood there pointing at me, speechless. Shirley started the waterworks again. Sue, even if I'm not your real mom, I've cared for you all these years. What did I ever do wrong for you to speak like that? Everyone says being a stepmom is hard, and you'd rather treat me this way. I might as well just die. This was Shirley's specialty. Anytime things didn't go her way, she'd act like she'd kill herself. In my past life, I would have started apologizing by now. But it turned out my patience didn't earn any gratitude from her. It just made her more brazen. And the Sue who put up with it died in the last life. Hearing her, I rushed over, grabbed Shirley by her collar, and dragged her to the window. Her upper body was hanging out as she screamed, clinging to the window frame. Sue, what do you think you're doing? Are you trying to kill someone? That's your mom, for God's sake. Stop with the mom talk. My real mom's dead. I retorted to my dad without looking back, grinning at Shirley, saying you might as well die all the time. Let's see if you really mean it. Shirley, let's all die together, I teased, pretending to push her out. She was trembling, eyes shut tight. I'm sorry, Sue, I'm sorry. Please have mercy. She was holding onto my arms, face covered in tears and snot. For a moment, I was tempted to end it all by pushing her out. But no. This time, I wanted my life back, not to go down with trash. It wasn't until Shirley kept begging for forgiveness that I pulled her back. She collapsed onto the floor, clinging to my dad, shaking uncontrollably. I turned around and shoved them both out of my room, then locked my exam number away safely. Shirley must have sensed I wasn't as easy to bully as before, and didn't bother me all afternoon until Anna got back from school. At dinner, every dish I reached for, Anna grabbed. She loved this game since childhood. If I wanted something, she'd take it. School, jobs, friends, even the person I liked. Anna had this innocent smile plastered on her face. Oh, sister, I want this too. You won't mind, right? Meanwhile, Shirley kept giving her meaningful looks, probably hinting today's different. But Anna didn't catch on, carrying on as usual. I set down my chopsticks, smiled at Anna, then swiped everything onto the floor. Anna just sat there, chopsticks in hand, staring at me blankly. It took her a while to react. Dad, look what my sister did. I turned to my dad. After I was born, my mom got sick and soon passed away. I didn't mind him remarrying Shirley, but he never stood up for me. He always turned a blind eye to Shirley's antics, thinking he was keeping peace in the family. It's laughable. Seeing me look at him, my dad cleared his throat. Sue, your sister didn't do it on purpose. She's still young. Can't you act like an elder sister? What does this look like? Hearing him, I just chuckled instead of getting mad. Dad, you're right. I should act like an elder sister. Anna had this smug smile, thinking I'd back down. If you know you're wrong, clean up the mess. You weren't expecting my mom to. She didn't finish, 'cause I stuffed a handful of food into her mouth. Here, you love this, right? Have some more. Sister's treating you, Anna struggled, letting out some kind of hard-to-understand howl. Her eyes were full of tears, and her hands frantically flailed in the air. but how could she match the strength of a deranged person? Back in the day, they teamed up and sent me to a mental hospital for months. Shirley, seeing her daughter suffering, rushed forward to hold Anna in her arms. Anna, my sweet girl Anna, it's Mom's fault for letting you be bullied like this. Shirley cried, truly moved. My dad stormed over and slapped me. Sue, just because you finished your exams doesn't mean you can do whatever you want. Apologize to your sister. My cheek stung with a burning pain. I pressed my tongue against the inside of my mouth and turned to look at my dad. The anger on his face was real, but it wasn't for me. It was for Anna. Always for Anna. I never could understand why he, my father too, turned a blind eye to what Shirley and the others did. Why was it that even though both of us were his daughters, I ended up with the short end? Until he came to get me out of the mental hospital at the end, he shed tears for the first time. He said, Sue, you're my daughter. How could I not care about you? You're more sensible and obedient than Anna. I know you'll understand me. Because of being sensible and obedient, all my troubles were brushed aside. But who even cares about such sensibility and obedience? Apologize. Only if they first apologize for all the unfair treatment I've received these past 18 years. I got closer to him, thinking about the winter Shirley sent me out in the heavy snow to run errands. The scene of me almost buried in snow, the hot summer days when she wouldn't let me use the air conditioner, almost resulting in a heat stroke. It was the endless dishes to wash, floors to scrub during holidays, and the public shaming during parent-teacher meetings. None of it involved physical abuse, but it was like rats in a dark hole gnawing away at my happiness piece by piece. Shirley held Anna, sobbing her heart out, and when she saw me coming closer, she shielded Anna behind her. What are you trying to do? If you have issues, take it up with me. Don't trouble my daughter. I looked at her coldly, acting in front of my dad, not even bothering to give a response. Don't show up in front of me. Until I leave for school, I assure you, you're safe. Otherwise, what a lunatic might do is no surprise. Leaving a mess behind, I slammed my door shut. I thought Shirley would behave for a while after that warning, but I underestimated her. The next day, a short video quietly climbed the trending list, and by the time I found out, it had millions of likes. Shirley had posted the video with a caption saying, "The little princess of the house throws a tantrum because the food wasn't good." She captured the mess from last night, and the comments were all insults towards me. I charged out of my room to see Shirley calmly cleaning up the living room. Sue, you're up. Breakfast's on the table. Before she could finish, I slapped her hard. Posting a video online, just like that? Why didn't you show everything, huh? Not a word about what you did first. Shirley staggered from the slap, clearly dazed. Before she could say anything, Anna ran out of her room, screaming, "What are you doing, Sue? How dare you hit my mom?" I turned to her, cold as ice, "Make another noise, and I'll hit you too." Anna was stunned into silence. I turned back to Shirley. "What, you think this will make me back down? What dream are you living in, Shirley? I've got plenty on you." I didn't care for Shirley's antics, but her constant meddling annoyed me. Shirley stood there, acting all calm and collected. "Sue, I've never done anything to hurt you. Don't accuse me." "Really? Then who was that Uncle Wang?" "Huh?" Her face instantly looked terrible. "Mom, who's Uncle Wang?" Anna, naturally, didn't know. This was something I accidentally discovered right before my final exams. I had forgotten some study materials, so I went back. The only one home was Shirley, but there was another man's shadow on the balcony. My eyesight is pretty good, and being on a lower floor helped. I recognized him. It was Uncle Wang, who once greeted us during a meal out. Anna forgot, but I didn't. I saw how his eyes lingered on Shirley. "Sue, what are you talking about?" Shirley's eyes darted, and sweat began to form on her forehead. In my past life, I believed my dad's nonsense, thinking if I kept quiet, everything would be peaceful. It wasn't until the end of my last life that I realized a happy family is not about tolerance, but about the people in it. "Shirley, I'm giving you a day to come clean about everything. Otherwise, don't blame me for what happens." I laid down the ultimatum, not truly believing Shirley would stop, but needing some time for the store to restore chat history on my phone. After all, Anna's messages to me were gold. By the time I got home, my dad was back from work. He's never been into short videos, so he was clueless about the online drama. He only frowned seeing the red mark on Shirley's face. Seeing me, his tone turned stern. "Sue, come over here." Anna peeked from behind Shirley, clearly delighting in my trouble. I sat across from him, and he sighed, "Sue, what's been going on with you lately? You're always fighting with your mom and sister. Did you forget what Dad told you? A family in harmony prospers." I remember. My hands clenched into fists on my lap. The resentment and unwillingness from my past life gripped me tightly. Good, you remember. Hurry up and apologize to your mom and them. Let's just move on from this. Why should I? What? My dad was taken aback for a moment. I looked up at him, and for the first time, my mind felt so clear and rational. Why should I apologize? You keep saying a family in harmony prospers, but all the harmony has come from my compromises. What about you and them? None of you ever compromise for me. I'm the one giving up my interests time and again for your so-called harmony. I won't back down anymore. If you can't learn to respect me, then sorry, but I don't need this family. My voice was calm. These were the words I had wanted to say in my past life, but never managed to. I ignored his anger, got up, and looked at Shirley. Check the internet when you have time, Shirley. You're not the only one with a phone. I've never trusted her. By now, those chat logs and videos should make enough of a big impact. Late at night, I was woken up by a commotion. My dad suddenly stormed into my room and dragged me out. What are you doing? You can still sleep. Your mom is about to jump off a building because of you. Do you know that? I became instantly alert. Jump off a building? Shirley, that's quite a turn of events. I shrugged off my dad's hand and raced up to the rooftop, taking the stairs two at a time. Shirley was sitting on the railing with her hair disheveled. Anna was clutching her hand, crying her eyes out. Neighbors surrounded them, trying to persuade them earnestly. When I approached, all the accusations turned to me. Shirley, look, your daughter is here. Come down. Yeah, what's so bad that a family can't handle? Sue, just apologize to your mom. She's done so much for this family, and you act like this? Posting all that stuff online? That's just unfilial. Everyone was condemning me, listing my faults. Shirley's eyes shone with determination. My rational train of thought was dangling by a thread, near breaking. Then my dad stepped forward, grabbed my hand, and dragged me to Shirley. Pressing down on my shoulder, he tried to force me to my knees to apologize. Sue, how could you accuse your mom of cheating? Have I been too easy on you? Easy? How could he even say that with a straight face? Growing up, did he once care for me beyond supporting Shirley's scolding? Beyond making me apologize blindly every time? No, he didn't. I finally realized he wasn't my dad. He was Shirley's husband, Anna's father, Howard, but not my dad. The thread of my sanity snapped completely. I grabbed Howard's wrist, looking him in the eye. Accuse? Do you really not know if that's true or not? You just want to sweep this under the rug and put the blame on me. What kind of father does that? I blocked out all the shouting around me, climbing onto the railing without hesitation, grabbing Shirley's arm. My heart was pounding so loudly I could almost feel it leaping from my chest. The wind roared in my ears, eerily reminiscent of my last moments from the past life. Back then, after my husband beat me into a miscarriage, I sought justice, only to have Shirley blame me for not being a good wife. Even Howard said I failed as a wife. What is responsibility? Am I supposed to offer my left cheek when my right one is slapped? That had been my life. Not this time. I laughed freely, my hair dancing wildly in the wind. Death is terrifying, and I don't want to feel the agony of breaking bones again. But if living means repeating my past life without dignity, I'd rather face death once more. Want to die, Shirley? Let's die together. You want to ruin my life? I won't let you. I leaned back, pulling Shirley by the arm, but she clung to the railing with all her strength. One by one, I pried her fingers from the railing. Until the last one, she finally broke. It's my fault. Everything you said is true. Let me go. I don't want to die. Sue, I'm sorry. Let me down. She wanted to use death to make me compromise. But I no longer compromise. I let go of her arm, smiling. Seeing Howard below, frozen in shock, I felt a satisfaction like never before. See, what you call family harmony was never what she wanted. Shirley was finally rescued and, crying, tried to reach for Howard's coat, but he sidestepped her. I followed them home at a distance. Anna appeared beside me, her voice cold and devoid of any previous fear or concern. Sue, watch out. Don't think you'll get away with this. I shrugged, unbothered. When you realize that there's nothing in this world you're afraid to die for, nothing can threaten you. But I looked into Anna's eyes, which didn't resemble Shirley's or Howard's at all, and for the first time, I started questioning her lineage. Once I had that thought, all I saw on Howard's head was a glowing green hat when he scolded me. Are you even listening to me? Howard slammed his hand on the table, snapping me back to reality. Why are you yelling at me? The one who made you a fool is inside. Howard's heavy breathing paused for a moment. Stay out of adult business. He got up and started walking inside, but I stopped him. You're just gonna sweep it under the rug again, right? Howard didn't answer me, but the next day, Shirley showed up in the living room as if nothing had happened. I couldn't tell if I should call her thick-skinned or Howard too easygoing. Anna was on summer break. When she saw me, she just scoffed. I took that moment to pluck a hair off her shoulder. I needed proof for the doubts I had last night. I got tests done with her hair and mine. The hospital said it'd take about 3 days for the results. When I got home, my high school class president told me there was a class reunion the next day and asked if I wanted to go. Honestly, I wasn't close with my classmates, all thanks to my lovely stepsister. She spent all 3 years spreading rumors about how I bullied her at home, so no one wanted to be friends with me. Not only that, she even snatched the guy I used to have a crush on. Looking at Anna playing on her phone on the couch, I started to hatch a plan. So you like taking things? Hope you enjoy this one. I accepted the invitation to the reunion and casually mentioned it at dinner. Anna's eyes lit up. Sue, take me with you? Why do you want to go? Anna pouted, grabbing Howard's arm. Despite Howard not being as tender as he used to be with Shirley, he still doted on his daughter. He couldn't resist her pleading and turned to me. Take her along, won't you? Anna used to visit your class all the time back in high school. Yeah, she did, just to take away all my friends and leave me isolated. Remembering those 3 years, the whispers, being left out in group activities, ignored and looked over, it made my anger sprout like weeds. I almost snapped my chopsticks in half, keeping a poker face. Sure, let's go together. Anna raised a challenging eyebrow at me. I wonder if she'll be just as smug tomorrow. The reunion was set for the evening, in a restaurant's private room. Waiting for Anna by the door, I saw her coming out in a white dress and Mary Jane shoes, her hair in big curls. She looked like she was off to a fancy ball. I gave her a half smile and she glared at me. What are you looking at? Not everyone wears t-shirts and jeans year-round like you. I walked away without saying a word. My phone vibrated with a message from the class president. John's already here. Seeing that name made my heart skip a beat. John, my husband from a past life. He was also my high school classmate. We didn't really connect back then. He was handsome, lots of girls liked him, but his grades were poor, so he ended up at a third-tier college. After college, he just bummed off his parents, was a jerk, and an alcoholic. This was the good husband Shirley found for me in my previous life. This time, let her daughter enjoy it. When I opened the private room door, I immediately spotted John in the corner. Now wasn't much different from the future him. Still made me nauseous with a glance. Anna, meanwhile, was clearly more popular. Everyone sang her praises as she entered. I was just her shadow. Anna soaked in all the admiration, glancing at me every now and then. I ignored her and took my drink over to where John was sitting. John glanced up at me with contempt. He never liked me. Girls like Anna were his type. Otherwise, he wouldn't have messed around with her even after marrying me. You like my sister. I stated it as a fact. John finally gave me more than a passing glance. What's it to you? I sat down next to him, watching Anna in the crowd, like a little fairy. She's mentioned you. She thinks you're cool, but hasn't dared to say it. Trust me, she'll say hey, soon enough. John looked at me like I couldn't be trusted. But not long after, Anna came over, giving John those flirty looks that could hook anyone. Just like Shirley taught her. Sue, what are you doing here? Anna's tone was soft, so different from her loud, bossy self at home. She was acting all sweet. I gave her a smile. I'm not really into crowds, just needed a break. Oh, I see, Sue. Who's this guy next to you? Finally, she spoke up. He's John, a classmate of mine. Hope you like the gift I got you, Anna. After the reunion ended, Anna and I waited for our rides downstairs. As classmates left one by one, Anna finally dropped her facade. She sneered, Sue, see, everything you like ends up being mine, whether it's Dad or anyone else. Anna wasn't always like this. She used to follow me around, calling me sister, holding my hand and begging me to play with her. When did it all change? Maybe when I got my first perfect score in elementary school. Howard was so happy that day, he took me to the amusement park all day. Since then, Anna started competing with me for everything I had, and even for what I liked but didn't have. Anna, I'm your sister. Why compete with me? Her expression twisted under my gaze, her once cute face now disturbing. Sister? Sue, as long as you're around, Dad will never just love me. Because of you, I'll always feel inferior. I'll never like you. Mom was right, we were never real sisters. Only when you're miserable can I be happy. Shirley, again. I looked at Anna. The sweet little sister I once knew felt like a distant dream. Now, she seemed like a stranger. The sound of a horn snapped me back to reality. John had pulled up by the curb. He rolled down the car window with a smile, not even glancing my way. Anna, let me drive you home. Anna whispered, see, Sue, everything will be mine. But she pretended to be hesitant. Is that really okay? What about Sue? She's an adult. She can make it home on her own. Come on, Anna. That's what Anna waited for. She shot me a challenging look and got into John's car. I watched as they drove off, letting out a small laugh. All the things I suffered in the past, I want Anna to experience in this life. After all, he is the husband her mother picked for me so carefully. For the next couple of days, Anna and John kept in touch. To keep her entertained, I occasionally showed a gloomy face when she mentioned John. After a while, Anna was convinced I liked John, prancing around like a peacock every time she went out with him. Finally, the hospital test results came in. Holding the report, I took a deep breath, my hands trembling until my eyes landed on that 0.001 probability. I was right. Anna wasn't Howard's daughter. A bombshell like this needs the perfect timing to drop. In August, Shirley was busy planning Anna's birthday. Watching Anna lounged on the couch, playing on her phone, I remembered the message John sent me the night before. Anna had lost interest in John and hadn't been out with him for a while. But John was stubborn and obsessive, never easily giving up on what he wanted. Else, he wouldn't have begged for my forgiveness on his knees when I wanted a divorce in my past life. Once entangled with John, shaking him off wasn't simple. I pressed the voice record button and approached Anna. "Why aren't you going out with John lately?" Anna looked up, disdain in her eyes. "Oh, you think if I ignore him, you've got a shot?" She scoffed. "Dream on, Sue. John's nothing special. I'm just bored of him." I said nothing and walked away. Staring at the recorded voice message in the chat with John, I smirked. John didn't reply, but I knew he wouldn't let it slide easily. 4 days later was Anna's birthday party, and Shirley invited plenty of close family friends for her coming-of-age celebration. The party was way more extravagant than my 18th birthday. "Sue, today is your sister's 18th birthday. Don't make any trouble, okay?" Howard sat beside me with worry. I nodded, smiling sweetly. "Don't worry, Dad. I won't do anything." Howard was satisfied, but when I said I wouldn't do anything, it didn't mean others wouldn't. Anna, in her princess dress, mingled among the relatives, her smile growing sweeter. Until someone brought up my name. "Oh, look at Anna, she's so polite. Unlike your sister, who sits like a log, doesn't even say hi." It was one of Shirley's relatives. I honestly lost track of who. When I was younger, I did greet people. Back then, I was cheerful and hadn't turned introverted after my mom left. Until Anna falsely accused me of pushing her during one New Year's. No one listened to my explanation. I stood there, absorbing their malice and slander. They said I was ruthless and would grow up even worse. They called me spiteful and full of envy, predicting I'd commit all sorts of terrible deeds as an adult. I became a regular on the pillar of shame. Since then, I don't want to deal with any relatives. Anna heard this and gave me a smug look, but she still spoke highly of me with humility. The more she praised me, the more others thought I was overreacting. The dinner began officially. Howard stood up with his glass, about to say something, when the door swung open suddenly. John walked in. I focused on Anna's eyes. When she saw John, her face turned ghostly pale. "Who are you?" In the silence, Howard stepped forward. But John wasn't one for respect. He shoved Howard aside and stormed towards Anna with a dark expression. "Anna, you plan to ghost me? Who do you think you are?" He smashed a bottle on Anna's head. Amidst the chaos, I heard Anna's scream and Shirley's sobbing. I sat there, coldly watching them lose their minds. Anna's screams blended with the pleading cries of my past. Back then, I lived through endless days of despair. I watched Anna get into my university, get married, have kids, entangle with my husband, and judge my mistakes and pain. How absurd, the abuser critiquing my life. The cops finally subdued John. He was injured too. Even pinned to the ground, his eyes were fixed fiercely on Anna. That look was all too familiar. It was anger and a destructive rage. The same look he had every time he beat me in the past life. I went with them to the hospital. Anna was severely hurt, especially with a gash on her head, bleeding continuously. Shirley was on the bench outside. As soon as she saw me, she lunged, grabbing my collar tightly. "It's you. You did this to Anna. You monster. Why don't you just die?" Her eyes were bloodshot, face stained with tears. I stayed silent, watching her throw her tantrum. Finally, I crouched down, yanking her hair to make her face me. "Is this my fault, Shirley? Isn't this yours? You made Anna selfish and jealous, told her I'd ruin her life, made her fight me. Shirley, all of this is your fault." She stared blankly until she broke down. On the side, Howard clutched his hair, still not grasping why his harmonious family turned out this way. Eventually, the surgery doors opened, the doctor emerged. Howard and Shirley rushed over. "Doctor, how's our daughter? There's massive blood loss. We're low on B-type blood. If you're B-type, come donate some." Howard was stunned. B-type blood? How's that possible? Both Howard and Shirley were A-type. There's no way they could have a B-type child. Howard whipped around to look at Shirley. She was trembling, her lips pale from fear. Though weak, Howard wasn't stupid. He immediately understood Anna couldn't be his biological daughter. You cheat. Not only did you cheat, but the daughter's not even mine? Shirley was slapped to the ground. I watched from the bench, almost clapping at this scene. An 18-year-long doted daughter not being his, this was a show worth seeing. In the end, the hospital found volunteers for blood and Anna pulled through. But I thought maybe she would have been better off not surviving the surgery. John wasn't gentle. Anna's face needed several stitches, leaving it ruined. Just like me in the past, the scar would mar her face forever. She once told me, you were never much to begin with. If you hadn't messed up, our brother-in-law wouldn't have hit you. Now with roles reversed, Anna screamed, throwing the mirror. No, how did this happen? Mom, help me, please. I can't be disfigured. I still need to get into a good college and marry rich. Shirley wept, holding Anna's hand. I went over and kindly tucked her in. You weren't much to begin with. If you hadn't done wrong, John wouldn't have hit you. Sure, the pain struck when it's on you. Anna shrieked, glaring at me. It's you. You called him. You ruined me, you shameless bitch. I'll kill you. She grabbed a vase and hurled it at me, but Howard blocked it. For the first time, he chose me over Anna. He looked at me with concern, but I turned my head away. Dad, you're siding with her? Everything that's happened is because— Shut up. Everything that happened to you is because of your actions. Anna was stunned, never expecting Howard to scold her so fiercely. She stared at Howard, as if seeing him for the first time. If you hadn't always competed with your sister, would you be like this? So young and already ruining your reputation, you've brought shame on me, just like your mother. Howard pointed at her nose and started yelling, but all I felt was sadness. Turns out, he knew everything. He knew all the hardships I faced growing up and all the tears I swallowed, but he acted like he didn't see them. To him, everything was just something I had to deal with. Howard looked at me, his hand shaking like he wanted to hold mine, but I stepped back, drawing a line between us. Sue, I'm sorry. It's Dad's fault. About the past, he sounded sincere, but I felt nothing inside. Are you really sorry? Or are you just trying to make amends now that you know Anna's not your biological daughter, wanting to keep the only real family you have left? Growing up, I always hoped you'd say something for me, even just one word, but you never did. I never believed that stuff about getting a stepmom means losing a dad. I thought you wanted me to apologize because you didn't want to lose our family. But now I see I was way off. You're just a coward. You're scared of taking responsibility, scared of facing conflict, so you chose the easy way out and let me suffer. It's pathetic. I didn't care about the pain or disbelief in Howard's eyes. I just smirked, turned around, and walked off. Behind me, I could still hear Anna's voice questioning. What do you mean, not Dad's real daughter? Leaving the hospital, I felt a lightness and joy I hadn't felt in ages. Even the birds sounded better. Anna was still in the hospital, with Shirley watching over her. Howard seemed ready to divorce Shirley, but she kept stalling, and he didn't know what to do. At home, he tried to get closer to me, but my cold words always pushed him away. Luckily, the new semester was starting soon. The day before I took the high-speed train, I learned about John's fate. He went to jail for assault, finally fulfilling my last wish from my previous life. With my acceptance letter in hand, my steps were light and happy. I deleted Shirley and Anna's contacts, but hesitated over Howard's. Then he sent me a $1,000 transfer with the words, "I'm sorry. I guess I can finally start my brand new life with peace of mind." The end.